Okay, kia ora everybody. Welcome to today's meeting for the representation review. We've got, I will open the meeting and then go through the steps. So we'll start with the karakia. If you care to join me, you're more than welcome. Whakatakata hou ki te uru, whakatakata hou ki te tonga, kia mā kina kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai. Ehi aki ana te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, ti hei Māori ora. Welcome to today's meeting. We've got the one business item on the agenda for the day, but just a reminder that when we are sitting around this table, we are representing our entire district. We come here from different wards and from different areas, but we represent the entire district for the case of our democratic process. And as it's the democratic process that we are working on, it is our responsibility to be above democracy. We are talking about our democratic process. We need to make sure that the consultation that we have throughout this whole process and the way that we conduct ourselves is taking that democratic process into account all the way through. I have any apologies for today? Sam brought me as an apology. I have a late for Mackenzie and anything else. I haven't heard anything else from anyone else. Someone would like to move that we accept those apologies? I also move. Thank you, Lydia. Moved. Thank you, Bruce. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. We have some people joining us today in our public forum. So we're going to start with that. I'm just going to get to the right part of my agenda. It's not in there. Thank you. Oh, there we go. Thank you. So first up, we've got Calvin Payne. Yep, just up there. Yep. Now, Calvin, you've used these before, so obviously the button on the right hand side, you've got it. You've got 10 minutes, which allows for you to talk to us about whatever you'd like to talk to us about, and also to allow for some time for questions at the end. So over to you.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, thank you for the opportunity today to present my views. I'd like to talk about the effective elective rural representation for Waikirikiri Selwyn District. This is my personal view on the opportunities before us to provide effective elected representation for the Selwyn District Council community. I support the review of ward names, although I believe we should delay the final name decision until the number of wards, the boundaries, and the community boards or not is decided. I do not support either of the current options in the preliminary consultation, as I do not believe either provides effective elected representation in Selwyn District, in particular for our rural wards of Ellesmere and Malvern. The current ward structure, combined with the Malvern Community Board, causes the properties on Knights Road to have excellent elected representation. As you can imagine, I live on Knights Road, which is currently on the boundary of Rolleston and Malvern wards. This means that we are one of the lucky roads and have 11 elected representatives. 3 councillors from Rolleston, 2 councillors from Malvern, and 5 community board members, and of course the mayor. To be clear, the cost of the community board of 5 people is only $24 per ratepayer per year. And over half of that $24 is returned direct to council as a support cost. We are currently under another representation review process, primarily because Rolleston Ward has expanded and Ellesmere Ward has reduced in population outside of the guidelines. Surely the simple answer would be to redraw the boundary between Rolleston and Ellesmere so that population representation is kept within the guidelines. As the fastest expanding region in New Zealand, this situation is likely to arise again in the near future, and we should endeavour to make the solution we select resilient for the future. I understand that normally elected representation is allocated on population alone, although there are some exceptions for large, sparsely populated rural areas. The ward areas in Selwyn District Council area are currently allocated elected representatives as follows. The areas I'm about to talk about are approximate, and they are in square kilometres. So in Rolleston, approximately 300 square kilometres, there's 3 councillors. That's 100 square kilometres per councillor. In Springs, there's approximately 300 square kilometres, that's 3 councillors, and 100 square kilometres per councillor. In Ellesmere, we have 900 square kilometres, 3 times the size of the other 2. 2 councillors only, therefore 450 square kilometres per councillor. We now come to Malvern, 5,000 square kilometres, 77% of the Selwyn District Council area. We have 2 councillors currently, and that's 2,500 square kilometres per councillor. 25 times the coverage in Rolleston or Springston wards. If we include the community board of 5 members, that 2,500 drops to 700 square kilometres per elected member in Malvern. If the current option to be presented for the formal consultation in August, 8 councillors, 4 wards and no community boards, the figures then change as follows. Rolleston and Springs, including West Melton that is, are essentially unchanged. Rolleston, 300 square kilometres, 3 councillors, 100 square kilometres per councillor. Springs, 300 square kilometres, 3 councillors, 100 per councillor. So the proposed changes in Ellesmere and Malvern result as follows. Ellesmere, 900 square kilometres, 1 councillor, therefore 900 square kilometres per councillor. Malvern, 5,000, again, 1 councillor, 5,000 per councillor. That's 5,000 square kilometres, no community board. This would mean that Knights Road, I go back to a personal point of view, depending on which ward it ends up in, which is still a question, could end up with only 1 councillor and 1 mayor. That's reducing my elected representation down from 11 to 2, if I include both sides of the road. My personal view is that if the current option is enforced, then the only way of ensuring continued effective elected representation would be to maintain the Malvern Community Board and even increase the number of members. And also, I'd recommend establishing a community board in our other large, sparsely populated rural area of Ellesmere. As a comparison, our neighbouring council, Waimakariri, has a 69,000 population and only 2,200 square kilometres of area. The main elected representatives are 10 councillors and 1 mayor, as we currently sit. It also has 4 community boards that cover the whole of Waimakariri district, with a total of 24 additional elected representatives across the district. Waimakariri, therefore, has a similar population, although slightly less than us overall. It's only a third of the area. It has the same number of councillors and the same number of mayors, of course, but each councillor, on average, covers 220 square kilometres. And if you include all elected members, which is totals 34, 24 community board and 10. So that then comes up at the total area they cover is 65 square kilometres each. It would seem obvious that the point of a preliminary consultation would be to listen to the community and change the option presented relative to the feedback. I understand I'm under a time constraint here, so I'm going to move on. The preliminary consultation, in my view, resulted in 80% of the respondents, both electronic and hard copy, confirming that they would like the Malvern Community Board to continue. This percentage is based on the 229 electronic responses, of which 107 had no location reference. The 247 hard copy responses from Malvern Community Board and Darfield Residents Association, and the 75 from the Kirwee Community Association. The current option being presented does not include a community board option and therefore seems to have taken little account of the feedback already received. My view is the formal consultation in August should include options, clear open questions, and encourage written feedback. The feedback also needs to be received via all methods, including online, email, and hard copy, and location recorded when possible. It would also seem appropriate the consultation is advertised to ensure as much feedback as possible. I would like to encourage this committee to present reasonable options to the community in this formal consultation to provide us all with effective elected rural representation for Selwyn District into the future. Finally, please accept this statement as a submission on the Council's initial representation proposal. I have hard copies available if anyone would like that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. And we'll grab a copy of that. We can add that into as so anything that you've missed, we'll get that as well. Are there any questions for Calvin? Right, that's great. Listen, thank you for coming along today.
Could I, Mr. Chairman, just congratulate Calvin on his presentation. While he's not talking on behalf of the community board, he is a community board member, and I am impressed with the way he has put it forward, and I do congratulate him.
Thank you, Bruce. Well said. Any other questions? Thank you very much, Calvin.
Thank you.
And we'll make sure we grab a copy of that.
Yep.
Our next public forum is from Harvey Polglace from the Darfield Residents Association. Hello, Harvey. So I'm going to start off before your time. Please grab a seat. Before your time starts, Tim and I have had a quick conversation. He's going to just update you on your question from earlier on.
Thanks. Hello, Harvey. Yeah, you asked a question about the long-term plan response. There's a draft letter going out. Sorry, the draft letter was prepared today, and it'll be going out in the next week or so. That provides links to the actual council recommendation and reasons for the decision. So you'll expect something in the mail in the near future.
Great, thank you.
So as with Calvin, just speaking to the microphone, you already turned on. You've got 10 minutes included in that time is any question time for the committee members. Over to you.
Thank you. Yes, I'm presenting the submission on behalf of the Darfield Residents Association. We're also supported by Warrington, Sheffield, Kirwee and Colgate residents groups. The initial consultation has proven to be a sham and any conclusions from it can't be considered valid. There are 3 reasons for this. First, the Local Body Commission determination of 2016 declared that the Melbourne Community Board is valid. Nothing has changed to negate that ruling other than the population growth throughout the whole district. For the review committee to go to consultation and exclude it is to fly in the face of a judicial decision. Secondly, Section 19J of the Act requires consultation about dissolving community boards. I don't believe this has been complied with. I have not heard of that happening. Thirdly, anyone who did not want to see abolition of the Melbourne Community Board has so far been denied a democratic right to express an opinion on redistricting because of the wording of the initial consultation, which specifically excluded community boards. This committee needs to acknowledge the widespread support we have presented for the continuation of the Melbourne Community Board. That's in our petitions which we submitted to the community, to the council. The options need to be reframed to include the Melbourne Community Board, and I would suggest a serious look at the proposal of Councillor Glidden to be included in that consultation. Her redistricting proposal to me seems to have a lot more merit than that which has been supplied so far. I assume one of the roles of council is oversight of the activities and proposals of the unelected council officers. The agenda for the latest council meeting runs to 844 pages. War and Peace is about 1,200, and council have only a few days to peruse it. What we need is more local representation, not less. And it may be appropriate to look at resurrecting community boards in other areas, as has been suggested, in other areas of the district, if this is what the residents want. We need a democratic process with a selection of fair options, not a dance to someone's prejudged agenda. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll table that.
Thank you. So have you got that written down?
Roughly, yes.
Okay, we'll grab a copy of
Certainly.
that as well, and we'll add that to us. Are there any questions for Harvey? I have one. Just you mentioned at the very beginning of your talk about the community board was valid, and I didn't quite catch what the reference was there. You made a reference to the Electoral Commission.
19J. Oh yes, the Electoral Commission declaration. It's in the council records of 2016.
The Electoral Commission.
That's when they considered whether or not there should be a Melbourne Community Board, and their ruling was that there should be.
And that was in 2016.
Correct.
Okay.
It's on the council website.
Lovely. Thank you. Thanks. Are there any more questions?
I'd also ask about that reference to that 19J.
Absolutely. I've written those because, down, and we'll.
Are we following, in fact, a correct process in the first place?
Yeah, if there's a process under the Act about the dissolution of any community board, that's certainly something. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. If there's no further questions, thank you very much, Harvey, and I thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome, Mackenzie. We have an apology for you for being late. So thank you. Thanks for coming again. Right, moving on. We have the one piece of the one report that we have here is the naming of the wards. Oh, I'm sorry, minutes of the previous meeting. Yes, right. My computer's turned itself off in the meantime, but apparently I have it all here in front of me.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
From the two deputations that we've had and the comments, where does it go to from here?
Well, at the end of the meeting today, we'll have a wrap up, and we'll talk about that at that point.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So minutes of the previous meeting, they've been circulated. Would someone like to move that they are true and accurate account? Yes. Moved by Malcolm, seconded by Lydia.
Yes, but I would also just like to say that the supplementary information that I had tabled isn't attached to the minutes.
That was the yes. Yes. Okay. Yep. Can we get those added to the minutes? Yep. Okay. So with that, you have a second.
Yep.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Against? Carried. Now, moving on to our one piece of business that we have here, which is the name of the wards. Over to you, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you'll recall that an earlier decision of this representation review subcommittee is that, and this was passed at the meeting on the 28th of May, that the subcommittee supported bilingual names as its preferred option for the naming of the wards. You will also recall that we need to have names for the wards when we go out for our initial consultation, and so this is a requirement that we provide some names. So in terms of the process, we contacted Taumutu Runanga. They have a Rua Hiki Hiki Taanga portfolio, which is involved in the naming of areas, and we go to there on numerous occasions for getting names for various council activities and promotions. So it went to that committee. It took slightly longer than we had hoped in terms of process. There was dialogue with the other Runanga Tuhureri, and the agreement actually came out finalised just yesterday, and that's why it wasn't included in the initial report that was circulated, but we've done so today. The names that they've provided, we'll go to those. Well, just before I go to those, I guess in terms of the names themselves, they highlight significant landmarks and features within the ward areas, and they're not completely new to those areas. So the first ward is Taiwera Ward, and Taiwera is connected to the mountains in the high country. Karmania, the Rolleston Ward, and Karmania reflects the plains that surround Rolleston. Te Waihoria obviously is the Ellesmere Ward, and finally we come to Kapuna, which is the Springs Ward, and Kapuna refers to Springs. So it's got quite a nice, I guess, connection with geographic features. These are bilingual names, so the names of the wards, Malvern, Rolleston, Ellesmere and Springs, will be part of the title. So as I said, we need to come up with the names. I think the Runanga have done wonderfully well in coming up with these options. They have asked in the letter that I attached to this document that they be treated with respect. They are a taonga, and we must treat them so. They also indicated that they would like, in terms of the consultation material that goes out, that it be clear that the Runaka and the council support these names. And if there are further suggestions around the names, they would like to provide the subcommittee or council advice in terms of how we deal with those. And I think that's entirely appropriate, as they were the initial people that we turned to provide some names for the new wards. Look, I think that's all I've got to say. Mr. Chair, happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions? Lydia?
I think the names are great. And I guess I just have a question around the Tawera Malvern Ward. Currently, Tawera is a subdivision in the Malvern Ward, and I'm just wondering about how that works currently, considering we have a community board with a subdivision, Tawera, and whose future is not decided yet. How does that work? Does that have to go back to the Runaka for further consultation, or is that what we're going out with? I guess I'm just trying to eliminate some confusion between our subdivisions and our ward.
It's a fair question. We do have to go out with names, so I'd suggest that would be a point that could be thought about through submissions and clarified through that process. I didn't imagine that would be the way. I did raise it with Murray State. He didn't see any problems with it, but that was only just a passing comment. So I think that we could turn our mind to that through the process we have in front of us and provide some commentary on that and the report that comes back to council following the submission process for consideration. and maybe take some advice from the Runanga through that process. I think that would be the best way to deal with it.
Any other questions there? Bruce?
Mr. Chairman, I actually support the concept. I think it's excellent. I really do. With the bilingual one, I think it's we're satisfying, and I'm perfectly happy with it. Further to what perhaps Councillor Glidden has said, though, I just wonder or not, when the consultation goes out to the general public, could perhaps the understanding of what Runanga has told us, the meanings of the varying names,
That's great, yeah.
whether that could go out with it, because I think that explains everything, the reasons why. And while Wairera might only be one, be it within the Melbourne district, it also points out, you know, the mountain range, Mount Taurus. I think the explanation is there. So I'll just make the point that when it does go out for general consultation, that perhaps the reasons given should also go with it.
I think that shows great respect for the local Runaka as well. Any more questions?
I just think that's an excellent suggestion, Bruce, and I fully support it. And I would be happy to move the resolution.
Okay, thank you. So we've got to move it further. The whole resolution will take in its entirety. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Glidden. Any more conversation on the motion on the table, which is for as it reads on your screen? All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Well done. That is the only business that we have here today. So before the final karakia, you asked a question earlier on about. You asked a question earlier on about what's going to happen with the information that we've been shared from the public today. It'll be included in the minutes of our meeting today, and which is open to the public and open to all councillors. And all the recommendations and documentations of all of our meetings are open to council, to all of council, which is important because the next step is that all of council will make the final decision based on the recommendations, which is supported by all the documentation, which includes today's documentation too. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Bruce?
Yes, I suppose it does. But I mean, when it comes before council, could the same submitters talk in the public forum to council itself?
They can.
We have a very busy council day that day. I did talk to Sharon about that and thought it would be a good idea if we could have some representation from the Melbourne Community Board, if that was their desire. However, places are limited, and I'd suggest there might be only one left, and I would suggest that if someone wants to come along, you do a coordinated effort and get hold of the council secretary ASAP.
There's also lots of there are other opportunities after that in our next meeting. After consultation, for example, to come back and make another public submission as well. So yeah. So there are many. There are at least two.
Yeah, but I think my personal view is because of the content of it, I believe we just don't want to lose sight. And if there is a representation that the community board or Calvin Payne, in his own instance, could be at the council meeting, I think we should recommend that he does that.
And as Tim said, that if that's the case, you may want to consolidate your group. And
And please book a spot as quickly as you can, because they're filling up fast or have filled up. But I said I think it would be important if we could have one spot reserved.
We'll book a spot now.
Well, I'll leave you to sort that out till after the meeting. Okay, is there any other business? There is no other business of the meeting. We'll close with the closing karakia. Join me if you care to. Una here, te po, kia wātia, ai kia wātia. Thank you, everybody. Just on a separate note, before you hear